Hey there, YouTuber. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to update the BIOS on the Gigabyte Z690 UD DDR4 motherboard. So what do you need for this? Well, we need the motherboard, obviously. We need a power supply, and then we need a thumb drive. Now, I think some people have said it's best for this one to use a USB 2.0. Not sure why that was exactly, but I did find that I can format this to FAT32, where this one doesn't have that ability. So potentially that's the reason. But yeah, you're going to have to format this to FAT32. So let's go ahead and go find our BIOS file so we can put it on here. Alright folks, so first thing to do, check in properties so you can see FAT32. Hopefully that's visible on your screen. Alright, so now we've done that. Want to find our motherboard. So you're going to come up here and search for it. Now, you could potentially use this video, folks, to find the Z790 version, any of the Gigabyte B660s that have the same type of BIOS update, right? You just got to make sure you search right here because all the other steps are going to be the same. Alright, so here's our motherboard. We'll click on this link. And then, folks, over here on the right, we have support. We'll click on that. And before we find our BIOS file, just so you know, if you go to CPU support here, this shows you all the CPUs that are supported and what that BIOS number is. All right, so I don't know if, are we getting everything here? Let me back up a little bit. So F20 is all you need for some of these 13th gen. It looks like all the 13th gen, and that's what's shown over there. Okay. Now, if we go back to where we were a moment ago, under downloads, you're going to find a section called BIOS down here. See a +5 next to it. So that's showing how many BIOSes have actually been made for this motherboard that we're aware of, right? So F3, which is probably the one that's on there. But we're wanting to go to 13th gen here, okay? So we don't want to buy a 12th gen CPU, and we just want to go straight to 13th gen. Now you see over here, there's a little note here. Please make sure Intel VMD drivers updated to version 19.5 or above before installing 13th gen processors. That's interesting. That note hasn't shown up on any of these other ones. Windows crashes with 13th gen processors when Intel VMD RAID has been configured on 12th gen without v19.5 updated. So folks, I don't know why they would say that. It's kind of an issue here in this example. Wow. So it says it's going to crash, but you need that driver. Hopefully you can, you know, do that after the fact. So this may be a little different than the other videos. Just in case there's an issue, folks, I'm going to install F7 for my video, though you would want to go with the most up-to-date. As of November 20th, that's F20. Later on, it will be some other number. All right, so you folks will download here or the higher one. I'm going to click this one. Now this also, the other aspect, these are cumulative, so you should get everything with this download that you get below here, okay? So like I said, I'm doing this one, you guys do that. And you'll see the file over there. All right. So that downloads to our download folder. Okay, and we're going to unzip that. So we're going to extract all, select extract all, and then there's one other thing we have to do here, folks. We actually have to rename this file. You'll find, let me go ahead and show you this, under manual, and we're in the US, so we're looking for English. There is this thing called unique features over here. You'll want to download that. And in here, this actually explains that you have to rename the file. Let's see if we can find it. We are section 1.3. After we do that, rename it to Gigabyte bin. So just to make life easier, I'm going to copy that, and then we'll bring this back up. Now you don't want the F7 on there. At least the way I've been doing this, I get rid of the F7. Alright, so ask you if you want to change it. I say yes. Then I'm going to cut this file, or I can copy it, but I'm going to cut it right into here at the very base of this, alright? So then we wait till that copy's over. And now, folks, we are ready to do the BIOS installation. Motherboard, power supply wise, we're going to try something different here. Normally I do the 24 pin and CPU power connector, but I honestly, since we don't have a CPU in here, I don't see why we would need to plug in the CPU power connector. So we're going to try this without that plugged in, and then we're going to come back in if it doesn't work and plug it in. I just need to know, folks, if that is really needed. And I say that I've done like 5 of these videos, and we have done it in every one of them. So this one's going to be different. Now, the directions, folks, should tell you which one of these to put in. The directions did not say which port. I'm going to assume it's this one. All right. These are not the right ones. This is your BIOS one. It says right there. I didn't catch it earlier. So we've got that hooked up, or we're plugging that in there. Now, just to try it out, I don't have the CPU power connector hooked up. Let's see if this will flash without CPU power. And you want to hit this button, not that one. Okay, this is reset. This is your BIOS update. And it is flashing. So this will take 8 minutes. So it would appear, folks, that you do not need the CPU power connector hooked up. And some stuff I didn't talk about. You want to make sure that you are not going to have any issues with power. So if you've got some kind of backup power supply or fully charged portable battery, you'll want to use that. You do not want to break your motherboard. And so I'm going to pause this. When we're done, this thing will stop flashing. We'll be good to go. So I've done a few of these videos, and it is kind of interesting that the USB for the BIOS has been in all kinds of different spots. Usually it's a USB 3.2, and this time it's a 2.0, and you can just barely see the word BIOS on there. But we did manage to finally get it working. So hopefully this video will help you guys. As I've said, USB 2.0 seems to work best. Formatted to FAT32. Got your power supply, 24 pin connected. Don't have the CPU power connected. And of course you want to be careful with which button you hit. It's supposed to take 8 to 10 minutes. Each time I've done this, it's taken slightly under 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, when will it take closer to 10 minutes? If you're watching this video 3 years from now, and they have that many more BIOS updates, then potentially you will find that it may take 10 minutes. Now that note there makes me curious. I'm tempted to install a 13th gen CPU just to find out if I will actually have problems, as they noted. Yeah, if it crashes, that's, one thing. I think it said it was crashing inside of Windows. So if you install a 13th gen, you can still go into, well, you'll be able to go in the BIOS, update the BIOS there, but if you can't get into Windows and it's going to crash, then that presents a problem, especially if you have to go back to 12th gen just to update it. So not a lot of things thought out here, I believe, with the transition to 12th to 13th gen. In case I miss it while we're recording, eventually that blinking light there next to the BIOS button will stop flashing. The red light will stay on, that's located back here, and then eventually that light will shut off and your power supply will shut off. At that point, you'll want to, disconnect everything and then go ahead and start your installation on your motherboard. Okay, so the light stopped blinking. There's a red light on. Power supply is still going. All right. In a moment, that should stop. At least hopefully. So not too bad, folks. This has taken, a little over 15 minutes to do. And for whatever reason, it's taken longer to shut off than it normally does. There you go. That's off, and the power supply fan shut off too. So, hey, thanks for checking out my video. If this helped you out, please make sure you like it. Maybe leave me a comment. That kind of stuff does, I guess, help with the good old algorithm there with YouTube. Get me more views, potentially more subscribers. Thank you.